Okay, so now you end up getting back into the Naval Academy, and now you show up for plebe summer. Like, it's on.
Plebe summer, where I met folks like Leif, Donnie Fall. Donnie and I were in the same company, actually. He's been another guest for you.
Right on.
And Leif and Donnie and I started playing rugby together. That's when I learned about rugby.
Got it.
Yeah, I was too small for football. I lost insane amounts of weight during plebe summer. I went down to like 175, and I'd played outside linebacker, quarterback in high school. I was not about to be able to play that in college football. And so I was kind of depressed about it, but I heard about rugby, and some of the guys who, had played a lot of football decided they wanted to go out and try it out. And I had some upperclassmen in my company who were really into it, and they were good. And so they kind of invited me out.
So you went for it?
I went for it, yeah.
And since you played football, it's kind of...
Yeah, it's a lot of similarities. I actually really grew to love the sport. It was really awesome. There was a lot of strategy. Of course, my first week on the pitch, I just got the crap kicked out of me. I got knocked out. I mean, because you don't know how to hit people, without a helmet. When you're coming straight from football, I'd knocked myself out. I just felt like a fool running around out there, not knowing what I was doing. But I just worked my butt off and really worked at it, and had a little bit of natural talent. And coach started kind of noticing, and Don and I were able to make the travel squad, when we were plebes, which was a lifesaver.
Okay.
It got us out of a bunch of the stupid shenanigans you have as a freshman at the academy.
How was the shock to your system showing up for plebe summer? Did you like instantly regret this horrible decision you made? Or were you like, oh, this is what I signed up for?
No, definitely,
I know this is an opportunity.
Definitely not what I signed up for. I knew nothing about the military. So my dad, like I said, my dad had been in. I knew nothing about it, though. He never talked about it. They send you this little book to prepare. It's called Reef Points. And it's got all the stuff that you're supposed to memorize before you go. I mean, it's a book. And every other kid, like Don, my buddy, he had memorized the entire thing front to back. And
Nerd.
Yeah. So when you show up, that's what they do. They quiz you on this stuff, I mean, stupid stuff like weapons fore to aft on an Arleigh Burke destroyer, whatever it is. Yeah. And I basically got the book. I'm like, I'm actually working a job this summer. I don't have time for this stuff. So I just threw it in the trash. So I show up, and it's like, I'm getting blasted every day, and they were trying to weed me out because they felt like this guy's a complete gorilla. He's an idiot. He doesn't know anything. Yeah.
Doesn't really want to be here if you didn't.
Doesn't want to be here. Didn't put any effort in. And so while my classmates were getting, they call it getting rated, asked these questions, they knew everything. They would just focus on me. I did a lot of push-ups that summer, and a lot of extra burpees, but it made me strong. And I also was not going to quit. I knew for a fact, like I said, I had a little bit of an edge. The other guys, a lot of the kids didn't know if they really wanted this or not. I didn't have any other choice. I'd been on the other side. We didn't have money.
I got nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, it's what it was like, man. And I knew, like, I had to make this work, so I was really determined.
So what'd you major in? When do you pick your major at the Naval Academy?
I mean, you go in kind of having a general idea.
Did you have a general idea what you wanted? Did you still want to do engineering?
I had studied engineering at WVU, so it was just natural to kind of want to do the same thing. But when I got to the academy, everybody kind of takes courses that lead toward engineering. It's kind of weird. Even if you study political science, you get a bachelor in science degree of political science, which is weird. And everybody's got to take engineering courses. So I decided to take this path called systems engineering, which sounded kind of cool. It was different to me, but it was the hardest major at the school. So quickly, again, realized another dumb decision. But the good thing for me was I'd already taken classes at WVU. And my kind of secret weapon was, when you transfer, there is no transfer when you go to the Naval Academy. It's not like you go 2 years at WVU, then you do 2 years at the academy. You got to start over. And you're supposed to be able to test out of some of those classes. But what they do is, as plebes, they take you into these testing rooms, and they turn the lights down a little bit. It's warm. No one's yelling at you. So what does everybody do? The proctors leave the room. You just put your head down and go to sleep. And I just slept through all those tests. So I think I tested out like one course, So I kind of had a little bit of a leg up because I'd taken a lot of the courses before. Right. Felt pretty strong about it. So The first couple years weren't that bad.
And then at what point did you start looking at like, okay, I'm going to this college. I'm going to be in the freaking military for 6 years. What are the job options? At what point did you start thinking about that?
Yeah. So I went in thinking I was going to be a Top Gun pilot. I was, it's the most cheesy possible thing you can imagine, right? Saw the movie, thought it was cool. That's what I'm going to do. Right when I get in though, they're like, your eyes aren't good. You've got like, I think I had 20/40, 20/50, something like that. You know, I was never going to be able to be a pilot. So then I have no idea now what I want to do. So I'm looking around, and there was a SEAL who was a company officer there. And I thought, you know, I was super competitive, and I thought, you know, well, this guy seems like a badass. Like, I want to try to like do what he does. I didn't know anything about the SEALs, other than, you know, the movie stuff. And I tried to learn more about it. And over time, I'm like, that's what I want. And as a competitor, I was really competitive, and I never, you know, growing up in a little rural community, I never really, quote unquote, failed at anything I'd tried for. I was always able to achieve what I wanted to achieve. And I thought, we had 15 billets, 15 spots for SEAL candidates to come out and go to BUD/S. And I think there were like 250, 300 guys that wanted those in my class, out of a class of about 950, something like that. And so I was like, I'm going to work my ass off. I'm going to get this. And I went for it. And I failed. You know, I did everything possible, worked. I got up super early, you know, did all the workouts, did all the interviews, made the relationships. And I remember our senior year, you go home for Thanksgiving, and they told all of us that we're going for a BUD/S slot. They were like, okay, guys, we're down to about 20 guys. And you go home. When you come back, we're going to call everybody while you're home, and we're going to let you know if you made the cut for the last 15. And I thought I had it locked up. And I go home, and I got the phone call, and they're like, hey, look, we're really sorry you didn't make the cut. And I didn't understand. It's like it almost didn't register. I'm like, wait, what? And I didn't make the cut. And I'll tell you what, it's probably the best thing that ever happened to me up to that point in my life. I was really humbled. Yeah. And that was my first big lesson in humility, which was a gift. It was a gift from God, man, because it really helped me a lot.
Leif Babin didn't make the cut either.
That's right.
Because you guys are the same year group, right?
We were roommates.
Yeah.
Both going for it.
He says the same thing, surprisingly enough, and he didn't go in the Marine Corps. He went to the fleet.
Yep.
And when you talk to him about it, he learned so much in the fleet, and it was humbling, and he learned like how awesome an opportunity if he gets to go to BUD/S. Like, it's such an awesome opportunity. Yeah. So he is very appreciative of the few years he spent on the ships after not getting selected. I forget if he told me this or not, but did guys that got selected when you did any of them quit? I think he told me there's like
who dropped out of BUD/S?
A couple quitters from BUD/S, yeah. Like guys that they put.
There might have been one or two. I remember hearing about a couple guys.
Yeah, but the Naval Academy, generally speaking, does well going to BUD/S because they're so freaking down selected and trained.
And there's a couple guys in that class who ended up being rock stars. Okay. I mean, they crushed it. They ended up over DevGru doing really well.
There's a bunch of studs in that year group, for sure.